Hello. I literally just woke up and I have to make a video because I just realized the best thing ever. So in my last video, I was talking about how we as INFPs have this inferiority insecurity with our TE. We are always trying to kind of find a place in the world, put simply, to bring into fruition our ideals so that we make sense of the world in a way that helps the world in a practical way. And I believe 1,000% that us being ourselves already as we are is enough and does add to the world. But because our TE inferior, we are tricked into believing that we aren't good enough and we aren't going to bring anything into the world. I believe that the way that we do things, even though to the ESTJ world it seems very lazy, like, I don't know, for example, this morning, like, I know so many people who are, I just woke up at 8. I tried to wake up at 6:30 because I think it's the right thing to do. Try to get early, I'm a freelancer, whatever. But my friends, like, they're all working 9 to 5 jobs. They get up so early. I know people get up like at 4 in the morning for some of their jobs. And it makes me feel like, gosh, like I am not like that. Like I'm such a thinker. I can't get myself to like practically like do a 9 to 5 job and get up that early kind of thing. And that's just like one example of what I mean. But I feel like we are really hard on ourselves as INFPs. And I just, for a while, I thought that was just a stereotype of what, you know, for like the INFP's own self-pity kind of to add into. Because background on why I talk negatively so much about self-pity is because in high school I was really depressed. And I realized the root of all of it was self-pity. When I didn't have to be that way or feel that way, even though things were negative or going negatively for me. So ever since then, I've tried to be like, stay away from self-pity, which if you don't know what that attitude looks like, it's kind of like, oh, like, woe me, why me? It's kind of like, no one understands me. I will always be misunderstood. Those things are not true for an INFP and not true for true for anybody on this earth. So, and so when I would see like, oh, it's, INFPs are misunderstood on YouTube, or seeing, the ESTJ world is like so different than the INFP, those things just had made it sound like, INFPs will always be misunderstood, and that we are victims of the ESTJ world. I'm not thinking I don't want to perpetuate, but I just watched this video of Damon something. I don't know. I'm sure you guys know about him. He has a lot of followers, and he's an ENTJ who does Myers-Briggs stuff. But he was basically saying that he made this video for ISFPs and INFPs because we both have the dominant FI function, and he described it. I'll put a link below to that video so you guys can watch it. It's 30 minutes long, but if you watch it on double speed, it works fine. It's great. But the what he was talking about was FI as a dominant function, and it is seriously so cool because I always just thought like we were these like little fairy pansies and that we don't have any application to the world. But he was like saying like, no, because of our FI dominant function, we literally have this ability to like as FI and FE are different, we have this ability to put ourselves in other people's shoes to feel what they're experiencing, and that's what we do constantly all the time. That's why we're so good at things like psychology. We can read into people really well and know what they're feeling or experiencing, that we might come off as super cold or aloof or stoic, but actually we are incredibly compassionate. And a lot of the times we're not saying things is because Or it might look like we're not paying attention to people, but we're actually feeling everything that everybody's feeling in the room very intensely, but we're just not talking about it or saying it because it might not be constructive, because we're literally so empathetic and thinking about it in a way of like, well, if I were you, would I want somebody to tell me that? Which was such a cool way of looking at it. And it just made me a lot more confident in what I am and where I do place in the world. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys today is like, stop wasting your time trying to be like everybody else in the way that you bring something to the world, because you already bring something to the world by existing and having like your mind and you're functioning in the way it is. Being able to be that empathetic towards people is so powerful, and like we're known to be such good friends to people, and we can also write so well, especially for if we are ghostwriter for other people. We could write stories so well that really bring out like I watched another INFP video. It was just like one of those INFP in 4 minutes thing. And it was saying like people, INFPs like can inspire people through narrative therapy without even realizing they're doing it, because we're so in touch with emotion and human experience. We'll tell a story about human experience and it will inspire somebody next to us, but we won't even realize it. So like that's the thing, is like that's the funny thing about being an INFP is your strength is literally in something where you're not worried about being significant. There's this Christian book I've read by Tim Keller. It's called The Freedom of Self-Forgetfulness. And it is like just this 50-page book. It's super thin, but it was so good. It was saying, it was like, I don't know, it's just like it was like describing what it feels like to be a child again, where, you know, you're not thinking about yourself at all. And that's actually what freedom is. And it was all talking about kind of being so wrapped up in God and Jesus that you're just not even thinking about yourself anymore. Like we're not walking down the street checking ourselves out in the mirror, making sure we're okay. And I think that kind of concept I really want to like share with you guys today. Like I don't want to walk down the street and like make sure I look like everybody else, or like I really feel like so much of the time I don't look like or act like or am like everybody else. And statistically, that is true, because this world and our education system literally does raise us in an ESTJ mental mindset. So you have like these expectations to like wake up, to be on time, to, you know, care about all of your assignments and whatever. And like sometimes if that is something that you value, is believing morally, excuse me, in school, then maybe you will, or you want to do well, and like that's not, I guess, a bad thing. It's just up to you. But I think that's the thing, is like I honestly always have been doubting myself, and it's really great because I'm getting to a point where like I don't want to doubt myself anymore at all. There's literally nothing to doubt, because if you're always monopolizing off of your strengths, you're going to be something really loud and powerful that other people will notice is good and useful. And out of that, I think when you run into those ESTJs and ENTJs running the world, or whoever else, they're going to be able to notice that and find you useful too. And I think the most important thing is to just not care what other people think, because most people are living in this ESTJ perspective of, or like, you know, ESTJs just run a lot of school and all of that. So if even if somebody's not an ESTJ, they're still going to think that that's the right thing to do because they were raised by them. And same with INFPs. Like for a long time, I've been thinking it's the right thing to do to get a 9 to 5 job. And I'm a delinquent for being so entitled to think I should have a freelance writing job instead. So I just want you guys to know that the world is really messed up in the way that it doesn't recognize that there's other perspectives. And I think you as an INFP are good at recognizing other perspectives. So it's especially isolating and hurts your feelings when you see that other people, you know, don't recognize your feelings or recognize you and what you can do, and you feel underappreciated. And I think the best thing to do here is to just generally accept you will always be underappreciated. Always. So I would just Sorry. Ugh. I'm burping this morning for some reason. It's gross. But if you are always recognizing, what was I saying? I don't remember. I'm running out of time. If you are always recognizing the fact that everyone around you are not, everyone around you is not going to understand what you're doing based off of the fact of how our world generally works, especially in America here. And like art and writing and being a writer is not necessarily revered. Having a 9 to 5 awesome, corporate job is revered. Making money is revered. Those are just things that are really part of what we're thinking as INFPs. So that's where it's like we just start to feel like we're bad at everything and that we are not applicable. But I mean, everybody is bad at something. Like people are bad at writing, but we're good at writing. So, and there's like all these things that, especially because I was raised by an ENTJ and I went to a really good college, and all of these kids are overachievers hoping to become a lawyer, a banker, all of it, investment banking, like personal thought, like all this stuff. And I've never cared about it, or not cared about it. Like I value it. It's like, you guys can do it, but I can't do that. I'm going to kill myself. It's so boring for my brain. I wish I could enjoy it, but I don't. So, I just wanted to encourage you guys with that today. Like, make sure as you're living, you forget about yourself, where you place in this world, and expect people to completely misunderstand what you are. Like, people are going to call you lazy. People are going to call you a delinquent. One thing that I honestly, C.S. Joseph says, if you get to his channel, I recommend watching it because you learn so much about yourself. But one thing he says that did bug me was that you just have to get an INFP uncomfortable to get them to do what you want. And I would absolutely say that that's a terrible idea, because we will eventually break down and snap at you because we're not being ourselves. We're Our like other abilities are just being monopolized off of just because they could be used if they're under pressure or something. So I would say don't ever try to live a lifestyle where you're making yourself uncomfortable and just fit into this world and be like everybody else. Completely right. Do your thing. Do the things you're passionate about unashamedly. And like, even though I said, like, be careful with making big ideas and you trying to bring them into the world, don't bring them to the world on your own, because you can't do it on your own. And just always delegate things to people that are better at certain things than you, but always make those big ideas and bring them to people and try to make them happen. That's so worthwhile. I don't know. I feel like I've probably made my point, but I just keep talking because I really think it's so important to literally not even care what anybody thinks. Like, I've spent probably the past like 6 months or so acting like an ESTJ. Like, I'll be honest, I have made so many schedules for myself every single day, trying to make sense of myself, because my whole life I've been told and given a certain structure, and I just graduated college and I was like, all right, so what's my schedule going to be with freelance life? What's my schedule going to be like with this and that? So I've been like in detail writing down, like, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to go to the bathroom, I'm going to go make breakfast, I'm going to work out, I'm going to go take time with God, and then I'm going to go work on this, and then after that, hopefully I'll have time to socialize, and like trying to make this perfect schedule for myself to fulfill. Great. And like, it's so funny because every single day I've not fulfilled it at all, because it's against my nature to ever follow a schedule in the first place. And now I've totally stopped scheduling because I'm like, this is literally me trying to make sense to the world when it's such a waste of time. And I'm not saying, what I'm trying to say is, you will make sense to the world as soon as you stop caring to make sense to the world. It's the people that are confident about what they believe in and they say it no matter what, and they'll say it over and over again, that people start to be enlightened and start to believe in what you're saying instead of what the world is saying. And you're one of those people, and that's how it's going to work for you. So it's going to take a long time for people to respect what you're saying or give a crap about what you're saying. So just keep saying it. And there will be some that will definitely appreciate it too along the way. So not to make it seem like one extreme to another. All right, I'm out of time. Have a great day. Bye.